on the clock with a minute to cover the following topics. First up, in a very close runoff race, Democrat Diane Gibson has defeated Republican Janice Arnold Jones, giving Democrats the majority on the Albuquerque City Council. It's the first time Republican Mayor Richard Berry will face a majority Democratic council. Tom, close race. Janice Arnold Jones almost won this with all she had going on, but I got to say, all the big dogs came out for Ms. Gibson. I mean, there was a heck of an effort out there for her thing. Oh, yeah. I didn't sense the same thing from Republicans for Ms. Jones.
No, and I'm in that district, and I voted in that particular race. And being the recipient of all of the hate mail, junk mail, political mail, we didn't see a whole lot of brain surgery here. I mean, from the perspective of the best thing opposition research could come up against Ms. Gibson is that she didn't vote in school board elections. Right. Boy, if that's the strongest you got to go to policy, and we didn't see a whole lot of policy.
Yeah, there you go. Dee Dee, your sense of this race and what it means?
Well, I think that to divorce this from the abortion vote is very difficult because this is the result of slow ball in the mayor's race. They didn't want that on the ballot. Right. The city clerk counted very slowly, and as a result, it was on a runoff election, which was caused by another initiative. This is what a tangled web we weave.
I'll take it a step further.
Please.
If they hadn't had the abortion referendum, Janice Arnold Jones would have won.
Why?
Yeah. Because
I'm going to give you 10 more seconds.
It wouldn't have brought out so many people. It is a more Democratic district, but I think something like this would not have generated so much
Agree?
attention.
Yep, absolutely.
Interesting. APS Chief Winston Brooks was already getting his fair share of unfavorable media attention after a suspension for a series of tweets when news outlets reported on a 911 call at his home. Brooks was having a dispute with his estranged wife and was eventually taken to the hospital in an ambulance, and some outlets ran the audio from that call or linked to it to their websites and included some raw emotion from a person under enormous pressure, Julianne. And it's interesting. Even people who dislike Mr. Brooks had some heartburn with this situation. And I got to say, this is not scientific by any stretch, but my Facebook feed had very little comment about this Winston Brooks thing. I think people wanted to just leave it alone.
It was painful to watch. Right. It was painful to hear. Mm-hmm. No one wants to be in the living room with Mr. and Mrs. Brooks while they're having that confrontation. And obviously we don't know the full story here. But I think the idea of what this says about Winston Brooks and his credibility and his stability as a leader right now is why you saw this get blown up the way it did in the press, both on television, and the Albuquerque Journal ran a lengthy piece about it.
Fair game, Rob, for the press?
Yes.
Why?
Because TV stations run 911 calls to car accidents, shootings all the time. Also, I mean, I don't mean to sound callous, but when Keith Gardner was secretly recorded by supposedly a friend in a private conversation, all the TV stations ran that too. I didn't see any heartburn about that.
Tom, your sense of it?
Yeah, it's journalism, and it's not good journalism. Nobody really benefited from that. They could have just run the excerpts, but media today, they thrive on drama.
Sure.
And so Winston Brooks served it up in a platter form.
Sure.
Can I interject?
Let's just a little more for Dee Dee. We're going to move on from this
Well,
one.
you couldn't help feeling bad. After hearing it, you just felt like this may be a health problem. And, that is kind of a private thing.
But he placed the call.
And if you edit the call, if you only play part of the call, you get into that situation where they want to know what you didn't run. And did you edit this to make it seem better or worse? I think that's why you see that 18 minutes of audio popping up.
Fair enough. Last week, the head of New Mexico's lottery was fired without explanation. After nearly 8 years in the job, the decision to fire Tom Romero came after a closed executive session. And he's going to continue getting paid until his contract expires in 2015, but lottery officials claim they are not a government entity and don't need to explain. But the main beneficiary of the lottery is the Legislative Lottery Scholarship, administered by the New Mexico Higher Education Department, and that program is in some serious fiscal trouble. Robert, you wrote about this issue. You've written about this issue a lot, as a matter of fact. Sensitive personnel matter with Mr. Romero. Do you have anything further on why he might have been asked to remove on this? Nothing?
No, and I've talked to the chairman of the lottery board. He said this is a personnel issue, period.
Wow.
And says that they're not a state agency and they don't have to. I think he's parsing Because I mean, they deal with public money on a regular basis here, and the board chairman also told me that Mr. Romero will be paid through the end of his contract, which is 2015. So if he gets paid in full, he'll get $265,000 after leaving.
Oh dear, interesting. Not bad.
Wow.
Also, on top of that, 267 number, the lottery scholarship is running out of money. As a matter of fact, no joke, I'm laughing, but I mean, where does this leave the lottery scholarship without anybody running it? It's just a free-for-all, it seems, at this point.
Yes, and it seems like both the board and the now former director really exhibited an inability to find a solution here. And I'm afraid, as we discussed, it's going to hit the legislature. This is a checkbook situation.
That's right.
They don't have enough money coming in to cover the things that they've agreed to pay for, and that's a fundamental
That's right.
problem.
Let's sneak out 10 seconds for Tom.
Yeah, it's, I think Rob's quote in his coverage said it quite well. And sorry for looking down. He says, if it was a 7-0 vote and took just 4 minutes, something's going on.
Right.
And so I'll just say
good.
thank you for that. That was a
Absolutely.
great quote.
Going to hold you there, Didi, a little short on time on that one. A traffic stop near Taos is garnering national attention because a state police officer fired at the vehicle after the driver drove away. If you saw this, what you saw was inside the van, 5 children. The officer says he was aiming at the tires, but national experts interviewed by the Santa Fe New Mexican criticized the use of deadly force against the unarmed mother driving the vehicle. And Didi, let me go to you on this. What was your reaction when you saw this video? And I'm amazed at the amount of parsing out there on the internet for some level of blame on the mother on this, which is interesting to me. But
I
your
was
sense.
shocked.
Yeah.
I was absolutely shocked, particularly when the officer was bashing in the window and the kids were screaming.
On the passenger side where
Yeah.
the 14-year-old son was sitting. Right.
And then to see the action and then to see him fire at the car was just, this is a real black eye for
Yeah.
New Mexico. And coming on top of the investigation of the Albuquerque police, I'm really worried about tourism. This was in Taos, too. She
right.
was coming here to see Taos.
That's right. It's really unfortunate. Tom, your sense of it as well?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Law enforcement has a number of different challenges. I think if somebody is addressed as far as what's going on and they decide to get back in their car and leave, all bets are off.
Right.
But that's just my personal thought.
Leanne, the mom, let me go to that, as I mentioned. How much culpability with the mother on this? And it's hard to get glean from a video.
I'm really curious as to why she doesn't just sign the ticket, get back in the car, and drive away.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. But Rob, your sense of that as well?
I think
we are
that-
paid professionals here that are paid to manage these moments and
Right,
not bust off
right.
shots at vans.
Yeah, the mother certainly started it. She acted stupidly, but I think that it was over the top. And the officer who shot at the vehicle says, "Well, I was just trying to shoot at the tire." Well, you never know if it's going to ricochet
Doesn't
or something.
even work in the movies.
I mean,
I mean, come on.
and on top of what happened to the man in Deming.
Yes.
And then a couple days later, another guy from Deming said the same thing about that horrible incident down there. This is bad.
And state police shoot and kill a woman in Santa Fe,
right,
also just in my neighborhood, just 10 days ago. I believe.
Interesting. Right on there. Businesses and individuals in Santa Fe are paying around the same amount for internet connections as other cities, but getting far slower speeds. A huge detriment to economic development, certainly, but now a new $1 million broadband project is getting underway. Rob, go back to you. You go back and forth between Santa Fe and Albuquerque, and certainly you travel around the country, and sometimes it's painful, as we were joking around here, to travel around the country, see what people are paying for good speeds at lower prices than we have here. But Santa Fe, this is a vastly different circumstance.
Well,
Those
now
slow
I know
speeds.
why my internet connection is so slow. I always thought it was my computer or something. But yeah, this is something that needs to be addressed. You want to be able to get better service at a lower price, and right now we're getting neither.
Right, 3 megs? I mean, Leanne, come on. No one can survive on 3 megs in modern society. Leanne, I'm sorry. Julia, it's impossible. What's your sense of what businesses are
Well,
saying?
it's kind of that you don't really realize how slow it is in Santa Fe until you go somewhere else. And I think that one really interesting anecdote is that there are businesses that work in the tech industry in Santa Fe that actually use FedEx cardboard boxes to mail hard drives back and forth to one another because they can't transmit electronically. And to me, that just speaks volumes about where we are and where we should be.
But someone has a job. It's a job for somebody delivering those things.
Yeah, technology is the key to our economic development, and it's,
Yeah.
it has to be addressed. And I think the organizations like Comcast and CenturyLink are addressing it. I'm glad to see initiatives in Santa Fe and Albuquerque are taking a broader look to say, hey, how can we really step up the game for the rest of us? But still, when you look at statewide, there's still a huge gap.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Statewide, it is a big problem. And my understanding, you do some work for Comcast.
We do work for Comcast, yes.
No sweat there. Your sense of the Santa Fe
But
schools?
what about state government? This is the state capital.
Right.
And all of the websites, the Sunshine Portal, everything is also dependent upon that network. And so I guess we
That's a
shouldn't
good point.
complain about that either.
That's a good
The
point.
state has a great internet connection through the Department of Internet Technology building, and it is on the other side of that 2-mile pipeline. So that may be why things work a little better. However, we are hearing like the schools in Santa Fe also have a real
Oh,
problem
they
with
don't
speed.
work in the state capital.
That's a shame. Thank you all. Good discussion tonight. As always, all of us here at New Mexico in Focus appreciate your time and your effort to stay informed and engaged. Catch up with us anytime on social media by searching New Mexico in Focus. And you can find archived interviews and often bonus material from our shows on our YouTube channel and at newmexicoinfocus.org. I'm Gene Grant. We'll see you next week in Focus.